today's presentation is Self-Care for Kinship Guardians, and it will be presented by Jenna Brimmer, who is a licensed master social worker here at our agency.
So today we're going to be talking about what self-care is, barriers to self-care, self-care for you and your kiddo, managing stress during COVID, coming together in a positive way, self-care exercise, and self-care resources. What does self-care mean to you? Does self-care mean to you going out and doing something? Is self-care staying in and having a drink that you like, whether that's tea, coffee, soda, water? Is self-care reading a book, watching a movie? Is self-care spending time with family? Self-care has tons of different definitions, right? And we're going to talk about all those different things today. We have these different things called the wellness wheel, and we have different parts of our wellness wheel, right? So we have occupation, spiritual, intellectual, physical, emotional, environmental, and social. So these are different parts that make us up. And different things that we have to have self-care in to feel kind of whole. And which of these things, to talk out loud, you can just kind of think of them. Which of the ones do you feel the biggest in, like do you feel the fullest in? And which of the ones do you think you have to have more in? Do you think that you feel the fullest in occupational? Do you think you feel the fullest in spiritual? Do you think you feel the fullest in intellectual? Do you think you feel the fullest in physical, emotional, environmental, or social? Or do you think you feel like you might be needing more in one of the others, right? You think about during COVID, which one of these do you feel might be hit the most, right? Because we're all social distancing, we might be seeing family, maybe social, we feel the less in, right? So maybe we have to find a way to get our self-care in to feel social, whether that's using Zoom, Skype, phone calls, video messaging to get more social. Occupational can feel less right now because we might have lost a job, our hours might have been reduced due to the mandates by the government saying we can only have 25% capacity in places. Spirituality may have been reduced because of our churches being closed for an amount of time, only 25% capacity. So we can only worship online. So that also impacts social because we're not seeing people we used to, right? And those things are part of self-care too, right? So spiritual, you might have been going to church 2 times a week, maybe for Wednesday Bible study and Sunday worship. And then maybe that affects intellectual because you were, talking out ideas with friends, colleagues at church and those kind of things, as well as occupation. And maybe physical is impacted because you couldn't go to the gym anymore, or you can't go to a place you used to work out, or you don't want to go for a walk anymore because you can't social distance with people. And then emotional is impacted because we can't have these wheels filled the way we want to, right? So kind of thinking about which one do you feel is the fullest and which one do you think is it, and how you want to change that for self-care. I'll say that, during COVID and even prior to COVID, my wellness wheel probably wasn't as full as it was. And it's definitely changed during COVID, and it changes every day, right? Today, my wheel probably is full and occupational because I get to meet people and I get to talk with people. And maybe tomorrow occupational isn't going to be full because it's Saturday and I'm not working. Right. And on Monday, it'll be full because I have a full schedule. And maybe spiritual is not going to be full today because it's Friday and I'm not doing anything with spirituality. Social, it may be full today because I get to talk and do presentations. And maybe tomorrow it's not going to be full because it's Saturday and I'm sitting at home, in my backyard, just talking to nobody. Right. So different things and different days it changes. So this little bunny, it asks, what takes the stuffing out of you? Right. So what is something that just takes everything out of you? I think when Robin and I were making this presentation, the thing that takes the stuffing out of me is not getting to talk to my family, right? When I can't talk to them for a long time. And I can imagine being a relative kid caregiver, that maybe for you, it's not knowing how your grandkiddos are doing. I'm raised by my grandparents myself, so I can imagine in their place, maybe for them, it's worrying about how I'm doing, maybe worrying about how I'm going to handle things, maybe worrying about how my biological parent is going to do things with me, those kind of things, right? That might take the stuffing out of them and out of me, right? Like how my bio parent being involved is going to impact me. Yeah. So what is something that if you had to think about it, you don't have to share, what is something that takes the stuffing out of you and just kind of depletes you and takes away your day? And then we have kind of the other side of that is what is something that makes you sing, right? And we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. What is something that helps prepare, kind of helps it move forward, gets us out of that, right? So for me, if you're worried about how bio parent is involved or family not talking to you, what is something that kind of gets you through that moment, right? We can't pour from an empty cup, right? So we talk about self-care is taking care of ourselves. Self-care is helping ourselves get through a moment, whether it's a bad moment, a good moment, a down moment, right? We can't pour from an empty cup. So if I have a cup of coffee and I've completely drained it, I've drinking all of it, I can't give someone next to me any coffee out of that cup, right? Because it's empty. If my kiddo comes up to me and I have a glass of milk, but I've drank all the glass of milk and they ask for some of my milk, I can't give them any milk because there's nothing there, right? So I have something in my cup to give to my neighbor, my friend, my kiddo, right? Whether it's just halfway full, right? I've got to take care of myself so I can help the person next to me, right? Whatever taking care of myself looks like, right? I've got to do something. What are some myths about self-care? Does anyone want to add some before I say some? What is something that maybe prevents you from doing things you want to take care of yourself?
I think one thing that I've seen with a lot of caregivers that I've worked with is just the idea that, you know, first you have to deal with the kids and then and then your self-care will be next. So I've seen a lot of people go through their day where it's like, you know, all these tasks and then, you know, at the end of the day thinking that they have time and then they're just super exhausted. So that self-care piece just doesn't fit into the schedule.
I agree. Yeah. Like that's a big one, right? Like I can't take care of myself because I got to take care of them first, right? Where it's kind of the opposite. Like kind of going back to the cup, you got to take care of yourself first, right? Before we can take care of anybody else, right? Because if we don't have anything to give, there's nothing there, right? Then our kiddos kind of get this air, this nothing that's there. Yeah. One I hear a lot is I have to have money, right? I've got to have something to go pay for something. I got to have a spa day. That's self-care, right? I've got to have this, or I have to have money to go pay to eat out, right? For self-care, those kind of things. Right? We can't use the things. Self-care can't be staying at home. It's got to be, I got to get out of here, right? I got to go far away, right? I have to like leave the country. Right? That's what happens when we feel really drained and we've got nothing left, right? So we have to be like, out of here.
One of our favorite phrases as far as trying to get away is we need to go to the moon. And there's, we're always joking about the song Frank Sinatra, you know, that it fly me to the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we related to. And because sometimes it's like, you know, a little bit, a little stressful sometimes, or just where, you know, you just can't cope with it at that point. So it says, just, you know, fly me to the moon because that's where we need to go. Just to get away from it all.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like you said, because we're so stressed. I need to leave the stress so far behind. I need to leave it to another like planet, another galaxy, the moon. That's where I need to go, right? Like so stressed. Yeah. And that happens. We get so overwhelmed by what's going on, right? I hear it. Yeah. I think I've said that too sometimes. Like I'm just so stressed. I need to go somewhere else. Like I just send me somewhere else. I'll go to Pluto. Just send me there. That sounds nice. It's cold there. It's hot here today. I'll go somewhere cold. So we kind of talked about the stress during COVID, right? We talked about our wellness wheel, how stress during COVID has impacted our wellness wheel, how maybe our myths have prevented us as well from taking care of ourselves during COVID, right? That we just kind of push and push and push and get forward, right? Because maybe it's going to end tomorrow, right? We're getting to the point where we have vaccines, kids are in school, right? So we just keep pushing and pushing, right? Because COVID will end, right? We have to figure a way to take care of ourselves too. That way our kiddos don't feel the stress and we don't feel the stress and we don't want to just like crash tomorrow. This is the one where we talk about what makes you sing, right? So what is something after it takes the stuffing out of us that makes us sing? What is something that kind of makes it better, that helps us get through the moment, right? So after we feel like we want to, you know, we're done, we're so stressed, we're so overwhelmed, we can't do it anymore. What is something that helps us get through that? Is it a nap? I mean, I won't be ashamed of taking a nap. There are days where like I find like a 20-minute break in my schedule. I'm like, I'm just going to sit here in my chair, get my favorite blanket. I'm going to take a nap. And that helps me get through my day. And that makes me sing. Maybe it's just pestering my family that won't call me until they call me and they talk to me for 5 minutes. Maybe it's knowing that I can't control what's happening, and that can be hard. So finding something that helps us sing. What is in our toolbox, right? What do we have? what can we do during COVID at home, right? So this is some ideas we can do while we're stressed during COVID, stressed at home. This picture is 2 kiddos having a blanket fort in the middle of the living room. Can we have a movie night at home to take care of ourselves and each other? Can we have a cupcake? I think there's like a show on Netflix, like Cupcake Wars. Can we impersonate Cupcake Wars and everyone bake a cake and have like a bake off at home? Can we have a cook off, right? Maybe one side of the family makes like dinner and the other side of the family makes like dessert. And then everyone can see who makes it better, right? And you can't look at the recipe and you can't ask parents for help. So what is something we can do? What is something you've done during COVID to help with stress? Because I know we've all gone on each other's nerves, right? While being stuck indoors constantly 24/7. What is something that you do during COVID for you and your kiddos?
I've seen a lot of families pulling some funds together to be able to just buy outdoor things since, being inside all winter, everybody might be cooped up, whether that's maybe just a couple bucks for a basketball or even like a trampoline, things like that.
Yeah. Small things, right? It doesn't have to be big stuff like we talked about. It can be the small stuff we do together. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, for us, it's basically we just tell them, let's go outside in the backyard, like you were saying. We do have a trampoline, and so they do kind of de-stress, I guess, at that point, jumping up and down, or do something else, outside in the backyard. So basically, that's one of the things that we use quite often. And then I'm not sure. We just like to either we'll get in the car and take a little drive, get some fresh air, roll the windows down, stuff like that.
I like it. I like that one. I think a lot of families have done that this year, like rolled the windows down, got in the car, went for a drive. I had some families who say they have like a new tradition of finding a place that has like a good, like healthy-ish soft drink, whether it's they'll get like a small soda from somewhere, maybe parents found a coffee place they like, and they'll get like a smoothie there for their kiddo. So finding something that they can do that kind of fits into their routine for some stress reliever. Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. Self-care for you and your kiddos, things you can do together, right? We kind of talked about having the fort. We talked about having, activities you can do, going for a drive. So we talked about putting your own oxygen mask on first, right? So making sure we pour from our cup that's full, right? So we have to put our own oxygen mask on like we do on the airplane, right? Because if we put the kiddos' oxygen mask on first, we're going to pass out and not be able to help them, right? So we've got to make sure we have oxygen before we help them, which is very stressful. I remember talking to Robin about when we made this slide about how if it's kind of to fix our brain and think about it, right? Because we want to help them first, we want them to be okay. But if we help them first and we're stressed out and we're not okay, they're not going to think about putting the oxygen mask on us, right? It's just not how their brain is built right now and where they're at in development. They're not going to think about, oh no, my parents not okay, I've got to help them, right? They're going to get more and more stressed and more not okay because it's just where they're at, right? So for us, we've got to put our mask on first and kind of trick our brain into like being like, okay, I've got to do this first, because if I don't do this first, then they're not going to be okay, right? So you do one thing to balance everything out. Yeah. So something we talk about is our toolbox, right? Kind of been building up to this, different things that you utilize, whether it's, things you did together at home during COVID, things that you did prior to COVID. And today I'm trying to get this in the screen. All right. So I have this huge box of stuff that I would say is a self-care toolbox. You don't have to put your things in a box, keep it in the corner. These things are actually scattered all throughout my own home. So things that you can keep in your toolbox that would help you sing, right? Help you get to that moment that takes the stuffing out of you, right? Whether it's things like your favorite food, a favorite smell, lotion, books, prayer. So things that I have in my toolbox that are scattered throughout my home and organized like on shelves, bookshelves, things. I have a devotional that I keep, that I use sometimes. I have my Bible that is in my home, right? I'm not great at geography. I'm not going to pretend I am. Santa Fe is not that far away from us, right? So there's, so if you go, you can do the rail runner. You can go up to Santa Fe. You can walk around downtown at Santa Fe, and you can get lunch as like a big excursion with the family and do that. I can't fit Santa Fe in my toolbox because it's a whole city. So I just have like the travel thing that I keep to like remind myself, like, this is something I can do and do that. I have, there's lotion. Maybe this is something that you enjoy doing to help yourself. Like when you're having a bad day, have like a little spa day for yourself. I realize this is like really like feminine. This is the kind of things that I'm into. I did bring a giant set of like tool bits and a drill, but because I'm not very coordinated, I couldn't bring it all with me into the building. So I do, like, maybe that's something you do, right? You build things, you fix things, you build cars, that kind of stuff. That can also be in your toolbox, right? That you're having a bad day or just the stuffing they're taking out of you, you can go build things, fix things, that kind of stuff. I don't do that. I'm not coordinated enough. That's why I don't have the things with me, because they didn't make it for my cart in here. I hurt myself. Somehow the drill bit or the drill ends up on my face. Well, I don't do that. I'm not good at it. We also have, so maybe something that you do to take care of yourself is you have a favorite breakfast, right? So you have something that really, in the morning, like, you know, you're just having rough days, you eat something good to eat. You have a favorite drink that you drink. Maybe throughout the day, you have something like tea that you drink that's really warm that helps you get through the day. And I realize I keep saying tea, coffee, soda, water. I'm not against drinking, adult beverages, alcohol, just making sure that you drink those in an appropriate manner when your kiddos aren't around, right? I wouldn't drink a scotch, a wine when your kiddo is right in front of you, making sure they're, sleeping soundly in the night, and you can drink that in an appropriate way, right? Maybe something else that you do, right, is you have candles that you like. Maybe you're against candles, so making sure that things right. So your toolbox can be absolutely huge, right? I mean, I can keep pulling stuff out of here. There's yarn, maybe you like to knit and crochet, make blankets. There's also quilting, lots of fabric art. So yeah, you can have tons of things in your toolbox that you like to do. Does anyone have anything that they want to share that would be kind of in their toolbox that they would go to if the stuffing had been taken out of them?
Essential oils, little roll-ons. I have some of those.
Yeah.
I even gave them to the kids. Yeah, but just little roll-ons.
Yes. Do they have a favorite smell that they use, or a favorite smell you use when you need kind of to get the stuffing put back in?
The kids, they like lavender, and they also like the peppermint, and like the smell of Vicks, the menthol type thing. They like that also.
Yeah. So a lot of families and kiddos like to use those. Yeah.
That's so wonderful. Scent is such a good way also to just really switch our moods, So, and I love that you're teaching the children that too, and you're giving them that gift of self-care, and like it's becoming part of their everyday life from such a young age, because so many of us have to learn that when we're older. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Also, what works for the kids is lollipops and gum. They like to have their little stash of gum, and like, oh, I think I need a piece of gum. So they'll just run and get a stick of gum, or like little lollipops, like the ring pops, or those little dum-dums or Tootsie Roll pops. They like those too.
Awesome. Yes, like a little toolbox for them, and you can kind of build your toolbox where you kind of around what they need, right? Like I know that they need this. You have like their own version for them. That's cool. I like it.
I think just going back earlier also to what the gentleman said about taking those car rides and getting outside. He was talking about for the kids, but it's also for us too. I mean, we are so lucky to live in such a beautiful state that we can go outside and have these beautiful nature experiences. So I'm, and I know through COVID, so many people are going outside more. So maybe some aspiring photographers in our group too.
Oh, yeah. That is one I always forget, photography, because again, I'm not coordinated. So I try to take a photo and it just comes out really blurry. Terrible. Yeah, but like Robin said, photography, you can take photos of so many different things. you take a step in Albuquerque and you have a view of a mountain or a petroglyph or just the sky alone, right? You have a view of that. You go to a park and there's wildlife. I went to a park the other day and there was a roadrunner, a rabbit. I mean, there's tons of things we get the pleasure of seeing here just for being in our states. Yeah. All right. I keep digging in my box. I can find more stuff, but I think no one wants to see the never-ending Mary Poppins box I've got.
Coloring and drawing, that's also helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We always think, I think as adults, we think that's for kiddos, but I think we find a lot of relaxation in that too as adults. There's a whole line of adult coloring books that are fun to color, and they help you slow down and breathe because the lines are very tiny and small. So you have to really focus to get in the lines. Or you cannot get no lines, right? You can color however you want. No judgments. You can do whatever you want. It's your book. Robin is going to read some excerpts from this book called The Kinship Parenting Toolbox. And actually, it's really awesome. And if anyone would like a copy of it, we can work that out.
So this comes from an article called Making Time to Take Care of You by Sue Badu. And as Jenna went through her self-care toolbox, she was really showing you some actual physical things that you could be doing to increase your self-care. But this writer also, in addition to these self-care items, she also goes over just some concepts that I think are super important that I wanted to share. So in terms of self-care for caregivers, we need to look at knowledge. The more I learn and know about trauma, about the system and resources in my community, about legal rights for myself and my children, the less stressed I feel. Sue Badu also said that relationships and intimacy are important. Taking care of my own adult relationships, my marriage, and my friends gives me a secure foundation for successful parenting. If you are single, you still need to nurture at least 1 or 2 close friendships where your own needs are nurtured. Another piece was anger management. So having portable anger management tools like a pocket wrist exerciser or hacky sack, stress ball to squeeze, a pocket-sized journal and pen, or a pocket-sized book of favorite meditations, prayers, readings, or a particular piece of music on an iPhone that helps calm you when you're angry are essential because guess what? Anger happens. Sue says that creative thinking is important. So she says the brain is like a muscle that in that it can be exercised, developed, and trained. Just as you build your muscles by weightlifting, running, or aerobics, you can build your creative thinking muscles by doing regular creative thinking exercise. She says that she subscribes to a service that gives her at least 1 brain teaser a day in her email box. Another thing that's super important in terms of our caregivers' self-care is room for grief. There is often a lot of stress and grief in kinship families. Find ways that are comfortable to you and fit within your values and culture to acknowledge and express grief. We have a special corner in our home with a bench, photos, candles, and other items that helps us to reflect, pray, and grieve when we need that moment. Sue also says to laugh, breathe, play, and relax. I cannot overemphasize the value of laughter and play in reducing stress, building attachment, and healing from trauma. Do something every day. Wear your pajamas for dinner. Have a water balloon fight. Blow bubbles. Make faces. Laugh, giggle, chuckle, smile. And the final thing that she says is super important is to reach up and reach out. Don't do this alone. Find your support system, whether it's in your community of faith, a support group of other kinship caregivers, or another outlet. Be sure you have a group of people in your corner and be willing to reach out to them when you need support. This not only helps you, but it is a great role modeling for your children. For her, she says that it's her church. She also has other adoptive moms, kinship caring grandmothers, and an online circle of writing friends. So take a moment, promise yourself a moment to breathe.
I like that so much. The things that we talk about, right? Like doesn't have to just be the tangible things, right? It can also be things that are knowledge. I think when it highlights that, right? Like things in our toolbox can be the things we learn, right? Because it can also be when our kids have a meltdown, how we handle it, right? That the meltdown doesn't have to take the stuffing out of us, that we can handle it. We know we can handle it. That our self-care can also be the fact that we have a network of people. That our self-care can also be giving us permission to not be okay, right? Instead of telling ourselves that we have to be okay in this moment, right? So there's so many different things that self-care can be, right? I know we talked a lot about tangibles, right? Or how we have to reach for something, right? But we also, Robin's touching on the fact that maybe self-care can also be the intangibles, right? All these different things. So when Robin was saying at the beginning of our session today, we do have support groups in English and Spanish. And my brain stopped, Robin. I don't know what happened. I just forgot that they're on.
No worries. Actually, if you don't mind, I don't mean to put two of our support group facilitators on the spot, but they happen to be here. One I see with her camera on. So Miss Noelle, would you mind taking a moment just to introduce yourself? She's the facilitator for our Spanish speaking support group.
Perfect.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I hold my Spanish-speaking support group once a month, the second Thursday of every month from 5 to 6. It's an hour long, but sometimes if our caregivers need some more time, I go ahead and extend that time for you, but it's a safe place. We have our Spanish-speaking caregivers that come in and just get everything off their chest. I give them tips. We all share experiences and we all get to learn tips from one another. So if you guys would like to join me next month on May the 13th from 5 to 6, the link for our Zoom is on our webpage at fosteringfamilies.com.
Thank you so much, Noelle. And I believe Derek is on our call. Derek, do you want to jump in? I know you're not joining us virtual by video today, but I know I think I see you still on the phone.
Yes, sure, Robin. I'm happy to do that.
Thank you, Derek.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Derek Rugsaken, and I co-facilitate the English-speaking support group, which happens twice a month, the first and third Wednesdays of every month at 6 p.m. And we have a really dynamic group of caregivers who join us for that, who have been able to share their experiences and tips and tricks with each other. So would love to have any of you join us. The next one is this coming Wednesday at 6 p.m. And if you're interested, we can send you the link.
Thank you, Derek.
Oh, sure. Thanks, Robin.
Yes, thank you, Derek and Noelle. I'm very sorry that I blinked on the dates, but I do appreciate you being here and being able to share that with everyone in person. I will say that Noelle and Derek are amazing facilitators, so you're lucky to have them, and just feel free to jump in to the classes if you'd like to. For their groups, their support groups. All right. So we have some resources here in New Mexico for things that'll get you connected, for things to do or ways to help. So we have New Mexico Parks and Monuments are opening. They were open, but now it seems like they're going to be opening more expansively to allow more camping. New Mexico Kids is a resource online that'll connect you to resources as well. I do know that public libraries here in Albuquerque are open currently. They also have an extensive catalog online for books and ebooks, as well as I do have graphic novels and comic books for kiddos. I'm not sure about the other regions of the state. I believe if New Mexico, if Albuquerque is open, then they would be open as well. Comcast Internet Essentials, if you're a low-income family, you can get lower internet, as well as Robin's putting a link in the chat for us for Share New Mexico. Comcast Internet Essentials also offers low-income, for their low-income provider. They also offer a laptop or a computer for families who qualify. And then Share New Mexico is a resource database. If you go to their website that Robin provided in the chat, you can search for resources in your region, whether it's food boxes, food pantries, things like Y-Heap, WIC offices, and those items that you might be needing. You can search by zip code and find them that are closest to you. Bernalillo County, the ABQ, so another resource for families if you're interested. Our biopark is open. You have to schedule a time to go. Bonia Ana County, they have free garden kits at Lowe's on Thursday. Rio Arriba County, they have moving arts and dance drama classes. The link's been provided, movingartsespaniola.org. And then Santa Fe County, virtual museums, trails, and more are found on their websites of what's open right now. You can tour museums all across the world by their websites for free.
Also, if you're looking for a resource, please feel free to reach out to us. We can, if you're working with a CSW, they can help connect you to resources, or you can email myself or Jenna and we can help put you in contact with resources. But also, again, just hitting that Share New Mexico website, that has been such a great tool that we actually use, but it's for it's really trying to just be this huge resource directory for everything involving New Mexico. So I really recommend at some point for everybody to just go on there and check it out.
And then here are the virtual support group, again, when they are. So if anyone needs to write those down again or take a picture of the screen, you're more than welcome to, and I'll hold it here for another minute. But you can do that.